Well, hello, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Let's start with everybody's favorite topic, the one that everybody is talking about. How about a little wiener? Congressman Wiener. Congressman Wiener headlines, come on. Love this. Blogger says he has X-rated photo involving Wiener. Wiener coached porn star to lie. Congressman to single mom. You're not stalking me. I'm stalking you. Wiener woman says Representative Wiener used government phone for phone sex. And my favorite is how Anthony Weiner can recover from this scandal. Most people know these stories. In fact, we have a studio audience. I asked this morning that we bring a studio audience in today because I want to ask about these headlines and these headlines. Everybody here probably can tell me all about the apology, the press conference, the timeline, the underwear pic, the cat pics, right? Who knows about the cat pictures? Anybody know about the cat pictures? Yes, go ahead. What's your name? Victoria, what's the...
Can I say it? He's got a photograph and he's sitting with his two cats.
Oh, that's enough. That's enough.
Another word for cats.
Yes, he says another word for cats. Okay. Yeah. So we all know that. Anybody here know how many followers he has on Twitter? How many followers he had before Twitter? Let's have a big group hug. I love you guys. I can tell you that everybody who's at TMZ is giving you the number, screaming it at the television. It was about 44,000. And he's becoming super, super popular. And I think that's fantastic. Can anybody tell me about the Wiener coach porn star to lie? Can you tell me about that story? You guys are the best. I love you. You are answering exactly the right way. Daniela.
He had some contact with a porn star, and he said, well, I'll give you my PR person I'll tell you how to cover this up.
Mm-hmm. You knew that. You knew that. You're shaking your head. Don't be afraid to answer the question. Wiener says a government phone for phone sex. And the single mom. Did anybody know the single mom story? It's fantastic. We're going to play a little game I like to call Newsroom. We're going to play that here, America, next. Newsroom, you tell me which story should be on the air and why it makes a difference. Come on, let's go. All right. Hello, America. I have to tell you, I am proud to be built like a big bag of marshmallows. And I'm happy about it because it makes it very easy for me to resist all the women that don't throw themselves at a big bag of marshmallows. Little interest is paid to a guy like me. But then again, you got Anthony Weiner. And you would think that little interest would be paid to a guy like him. But apparently not. There's a lot of... There seems to be a dirtbag circle out there. I actually said on the radio today, and I know a lot of people will probably disagree with this, but I said on the radio today that I feel bad for Anthony Weiner, and about this. I have compassion for Anthony Weiner. He has, I don't know what trap he fell into, but one of them is the internet. And the internet and porn and chat rooms and all these things is a black hole. And the internet is both the best thing in the world and the worst thing in the world. And you're going to be sucked down into that black hole. Or you can go to you can find any book in the library. You can find anything, any piece of information instantaneously. It is both good and bad simultaneously. It's what you choose to make of it. So he chose incorrectly. He went the wrong direction. I want to play a little game, Newsroom, here. If we can put two headlines up and you tell me, if you're the newsroom director, which one you put up. Can we put these up, please? Tiffany is saying 1,000, 1,000. Here it is. You have it? There it is. Okay. The latest picture of Congressman Weiner. Has anybody seen the picture of him bare-chested there with the family pictures behind him? Isn't that classy? Oh, man. And I love the way he said in his apology yesterday, it was just a joke. Oh, I bet his wife and family are laughing. All right, so here it is. You're the news director. Which one do you put up? The latest picture of Congressman Weiner or the housing market of 2011 being worse than the Great Depression? Which one? B. B. You put B up? How many say B? Okay. Remember, you're the news director. This one doesn't get you any ratings or sell you any newspapers. It's nothing. This one everybody wants to see. Who puts B up? Okay, we've weeded out about half of you. Come on. Okay. B is the one that we should put up, but that's not the one that's put up. Next one, please. Revealing details about Weiner's women. Something everybody wants to know, apparently. Or B. The revelation that Geithner doled out billions secretly to his favorite banks. B. Does anybody know this story? You don't know this one? Well, this is great. Here's Timothy Geithner. Timothy Geithner is our Treasury Secretary, of course, and he's completely clean. Doesn't know how to pay his taxes, but he's completely clean. Timothy Geithner went and he gave loans to some of his favorite banks at a special interest rate. Now, I don't know if if you guys can't pay your credit card, do you get a special interest rate? No, yeah, of course you do. You pay 18, 25, 40%. You'll get a special interest rate. He worked out a special interest rate for his favorite banks, and it's 0.01%. Your tax dollars, what is it, $80 billion? Okay. But the news department all around the world decided to go with this one, not this one. But this one sells, this one doesn't. One more. Do we have one more? Pictures of Weiner's chest. Or China pumping big money into Latin America for oil, food, and minerals. Can anybody tell me about B? Can anybody tell me that story? Anybody know it? Nobody? But you can all conjure up in your head Weiner's chest, can't you? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Can anybody tell me any of these stories over here? Dollar falls on China comment, stocks rebound. That's his right here. Dollar drops to 1 month low on recovery concerns. Dollar falls on China comments. Does anybody know what the China comments were? China, this is this weekend. Friday came out. Yes, ma'am. In the back, or yeah, you here. Go ahead.
Of the T-bills, they converted to longer-term bonds.
97% of the T-bills that were short-term, okay, which means they were just putting their money in there for short-term, 97% of them are gone. China's like, I gotta get out of that whole short-term business with the United States. Good or bad? Good or bad? Bad. That's why the dollar falls. Stocks rebound. China official says U.S. could pursue weak dollar policy. What does that even mean? Anybody want to tell me what that means? Yes.
Weak dollar policy would be when the U.S. devalues the dollar a little bit in order to boost demand for trade. The problem is it basically steals money from the rest of us.
How does it steal money from the rest of us?
Our money is now not worth as much as it was. It's basically a tax since the government has the printing press.
How do you mean it's a tax for the I'm playing the person who's we're just looking, I'm sorry, they're now at their computer and they're like, wait a minute, the Weiner chest is really interesting, but what? They're stealing money?
Our money is now worth less because I can buy fewer goods with it. But the government that can just print more money doesn't feel that because the government can just print more money. If the government gains based off my loss, that's a tax.
They're causing inflation. You can't buy as much. Takes more dollars to buy the same thing. So inflation, prices are going up. Weak dollar prices, or weak dollar policies, Chinese officials say U.S. could pursue weak dollar policy. Basically, inflation. Do we have inflation now? Yes. China pumps big money into Latin America for oil, food, minerals. This is the one that we just went on. Look at the one underneath it. China official sees risks in holding excessive U.S. assets. Why? Why? And China buying European food companies. Just put those together in your head and look at these. U.S. home prices, the lowest since the Great Depression. How Great Recession could still turn into a Great Depression. Anybody read the story this week that we're not headed for a Great Depression? We're now headed for a Great Depression? Long-term unemployment worse now than the Great Depression. Geithner and Goldman are thick as thieves. Dollar drops, 1 month lows, recovery returns. And the president says that we've hit a few headwinds. Okay, can anybody tell me, we look at these individual stories. Here are all the Weiner stories, and here are all the we're screwed stories. Tell me, what is the Weiner story? What do the collection of Weiner stories tell us? What'd you say?
People would rather look at
At junk?
horrific stories that
Okay.
excites and titillates.
Christina?
That we're entertained to death, almost.
That we're entertained to death.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What? Watch the other hand? What does that mean?
Meaning, pay attention here, and while you're not looking, we're gonna do what we want.
Okay. Yeah, Jordan.
They'd rather watch someone else suffer than learn that they're suffering too.
That's really good. They'd rather watch someone else suffer than realize that we're suffering too, or they're suffering too. Anything else? Marion, way up in the back, and we have to move these mics quickly.
It's the American idealization of trivia to the point where nothing serious can penetrate the nonsense.
Wow. I think these are all great. Cakes and circuses. Cakes and circuses. Give them cakes and circuses. You familiar with that? Essie Cobb.
Hey, boss.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Cakes and circuses. What's it from? Do you know? Anybody? Yes, Jesse.
It's how the emperors used to control Rome, by giving the people food and entertainment while the empire was falling apart.
Cakes and circuses. Think of this. Given the cakes. Can anybody give me an example of cakes being handed out by our government? Can anybody handle it? If you're the emperor of Rome, you gave people cake. Well, we're not giving people cake now, cakes, but food. Food stamps. You want to control the people, the emperor knew, give the people cake, and then entertain them. Isn't it interesting how entertainment, we're not really, what difference, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about Weiner? Anybody have okay, that's probably a wrong thing to say. What are you going to do about that story? Get all mad? What? What are you going to do? You going to call him? Hey, you should resign. Well, that's going to help. What are you going to do? Seriously. Nothing. You're going to what? I'm sorry, Todd, what?
It's sort of amusing in its basic sense. You know, I mean, you look at it, it's like an inquirer mentality. You look at it and you're amused by it, but nothing ever happens of it.
But is it really funny? I mean, yeah. we're laughing because there's nothing else we can do, right? But it's not funny. It's horribly, horribly tragic. Here's a guy who has just put our country on the ropes. Why do I say he's putting our country on the ropes? Endangered each and every single one of us. How? Why? He what?
He could have been blackmailed, and he could have given different things to different people because he was being blackmailed. Extortion.
His wife is like this with the Clintons. You're telling me there's no foreign interest in getting someone near the Clintons, or getting somebody, close to even anybody in Congress, or blackmailing for information? You're telling me that man didn't endanger the lives of his wife, didn't endanger the lives of people around his wife, people around him, people of Congress, information of the United States? You're darn right. Look what he did. For 3, 4, 5 days, he looked people right in the eye and said, I didn't do that. I can't say with certitude that's not me. I can tell you right now, there's no pictures like that of me. Thank goodness, fall to your knees and thank God tonight. He couldn't do it. We laugh because what else are you going to do? Yes.
Personally, I don't really mind that whatever he did, you know. What I mind more about is that he just came out and told the American people that it wasn't, you know, that he didn't send anything, and he lied to everybody. And then a few days later, he says that it was him, and now all of a sudden, you know, it's supposed to be okay. If we can't believe him as a person, how are we going to believe him as a politician? So that's my biggest problem with him.
Yes, go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, I mind what he did.
Good for you. I do too.
In the first place, it was horribly immoral. In the second place, we elect representatives because we trust their judgment, because we can't be there in Congress ourselves every day to make decisions. This was really, really bad judgment, and a member of Congress shouldn't have that bad judgment.
How can you trust a guy, is it Shaney? Shani.
Yeah.
How can you trust a guy who's in Congress who says, wow, I've been screwing around on my wife and I've done such bad I'm so stupid, I'm this important, you know, I'm on TV, everybody knows who I am, I'm in Congress, I've got political enemies everywhere, and I'm sending pictures of me with my cat and my shirt off going, dig me. That's how bad his judgment is. So A, how can you trust him when he says, oh, no, you know what? Healthcare, I've looked into it. It's good. Really? Oh, okay. How can you trust him when he say, you know what? No, I'm telling you, we have to go to war. And how do you trust that this guy hasn't been compromised and compromising all of our information? It does matter, doesn't it? Yes.
The lying really bothers me. It certainly was terrible what he did. But when a witness takes the stand and an attorney shows that that witness was lying, the question comes, well, are you lying now? Were you lying before? You know, they're useless. They're worthless once you can prove that they lied. And my question is, if we weren't able to prove that it was a lie, how long would that lie have gone on?
Okay. So when we come back, you said something to me right before we went on the air. Right. You said that how many people even care about morals and what's morally right? Can you restate that?
Yeah. Basically, we always talk on the show about good and evil and morally correct. And just there's a lot of people that are kind of like in this little bubble, and they just don't care or don't even really know about what's going on in the world. Everybody's just kind of focused on their day-to-day, and nobody really looks at the bigger picture, and that's the real big problem. It's just like there's a whole group of people that might even be comprised, like a majority to some degree, that are just kind of go with the flow.
When that happens, cakes and circuses. And when people say, I don't really care, I'm just watching, it's just entertainment, they control. Whoever wants power, well, it could be anybody. Whoever wants power controls you. So now we've taken a look at the Wiener list. Now let's take a look at this list. And what does this picture mean? And why is that list important? And then I'll ask the same question. Okay, so then what are you going to do about it? Why even pay attention to it? What are you going to do about it? Next.